Video lesson chapter 6, Hotel Suite Project, tutorial number 2, part 2. In part 1 of our video lesson, we created the geometry for this area right here, for this bathroom. And in part 2, we're going to create the drawing geometry or the walls for this small closet right here. And so if we take a look at the textbook, we're going to create these closet walls right here. They give you the overall dimensions, so you really could just go through and start to use offset and trim to create that. We're going to take a look at how the textbook is laying that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by offsetting this line A here 7 feet 3 inches to this point, and then we're going to create the geometry for that closet. So let's get started. We're going to go back here to AutoCAD. And so here's where we left off with our first video. And one thing that I noticed was that in the first video was that the text alignment was aligned, and I did want to update that. And so as we take a look at this text right here, to change the alignment for the text, we can go to the Annotate tab, and I can go down to this Dimension Style, and I can modify that. And I can change the text alignment for that to be horizontal, and that's on the text tab. And I can OK that and close that, and now it modifies that to better reflect how it was in the drawing. Remember, you can always click on one of these with a grip and you can move that over to make the drawing readable. Alright, so let's continue to create the floor plan geometry for the closet. We may need to turn off some of these dimensions over here or move them around to make a little bit more space as we go through and we create this drawing. So to get started, we're going to offset this line right here 7 feet 3 inches, and then we're going to create the geometry for this typical 6-inch wall thickness. Sorry about that. Sometimes I get a little hard to grab the tabs on this. So we'll offset that 7 feet 3 inches. We'll go back to our Home tab, get our offset command, and I'm going to turn off the dimension layer, and I'm going to make the wall layer current. And we can take a look at the dimensioning at a later point. We'll offset that 7 feet 3 inches. And then we'll offset 2 feet 5 inches. And so what we'll do is we'll extend this. And then we'll trim. And then we'll offset this 6 inches. And trim. And trim. Alright, so we've created this geometry right here, and then we'll create this geometry over here by offsetting 4 feet 6 inches, and then this line here will serve as the boundary for this right here, and we'll create this geometry over here. Offset 4'6". You don't have to use the double quotes to make the inch mark. And we're going to offset this inside line to the left side. We'll hit escape. Offset again 6 for the wall thickness. Escape. And then what we'll do is we'll create a line right here And then what we'll do is we'll offset this line 6 inches to the right side, and then 1 foot 5¼ inches to the left side. So it's not perfectly centered in there. And I'm talking about this area right here. We'll offset this 6, and then we'll offset this 1 foot 5½ inches over here. I'm going to trim this, clean this up a little bit. There's a little too much geometry for me there. This one didn't cross over the other one, that's why it wouldn't trim properly. And so there we go. It's like our weed whacker. We just kind of drag it through. That's called a fence selection. And then we'll offset this line here 1 foot 5¼ inches. Hardest part is to just put the keyboard coordinate entry in properly. So we'll say 1 foot dash 5 dash 1/4. Enter. We'll get our selection cursor, offset that, trim. All right. And so now we've created this geometry right here. And this is just showing us the same kind of technique that I just drew. Now we're going to create some additional geometry over here to the left of it, it looks like. Let's take another quick look, because here's that T that we just created, and then we don't have this part right here. So we'll create that information. And then as we look down, it looks like this is going to come across, kind of meet up with that bathroom area. So let's get started. We'll offset 2 feet, and then we'll offset 1 foot 11, and then 3 feet and ½ inch, and we'll create this construction here. We'll offset 6 inches. We'll offset 1 foot 11 inches. And then 6 inches. And then this part here will offset 1 foot 1½ inches. We'll trim. This area here needs to go out a little bit more. It needs to be offset 3 feet and ½ inch to get to this line right here. We can create a line by tracking. And it started to grab the end here, so I just overextended that. And then I could trim. And delete. and extend. Alright, so that completes the closet area, and it should line up with the bathroom. And then the last part is to create the doors and the windows. And so I'll make one more video for the doors and windows if necessary. In the meantime, we can turn on our dimension layer. And we can kind of see if we can maybe clean this up a little bit, make it a little bit more readable. We really don't need all of these dimensions. They were mostly made for the construction. I'm going to undo that last one. Actually, I may wind up undoing all of them if I undo that one, so I'm just going to grab that back again. Sometimes what happens is the object snaps will grab the endpoints rather than allow me to move it freehand. And so you need to toggle your O snaps on and off as you go through and you start to do some of this cleanup work. And as we take a look at this drawing here, I'm going to leave the dimensions on for now, but they're not required. And so as I take a look at the way the end of the assignment looks, we can turn those dimensions off by going up to the dimension layer and disabling them, or we can leave them on, and I think I'll leave them on for now. Go back to the floor plan drawing, and so I'll leave that up to you. You can have either way, but I think it looks better with the dimensions on for right now. And this completes video tutorial part 2 where we created this closet.